what they don't want you to know about control. Every day, you're being manipulated. And the worst part, you think you're in control, but you're not. Your thoughts, your choices, your reactions, they've all been subtly shaped by forces you can't see. Algorithms, authority, approval. They whisper, reward, punish, guide. And you mistake that for free will. This isn't paranoia. It's the architecture of modern power. Control isn't loud. It's not brute force. It's silent, invisible, psychological. It hides behind smiles, behind trends, behind your own reflection. You scroll, click, obey. Not because someone told you to, but because they made you feel like it was your idea. That's how deep the game runs. You were never taught how to spot this. Because if you did, you'd stop playing by their rules and start writing your own. See, manipulation isn't rare. It's the default. It's the hidden software behind every interaction, every ad, every friendly suggestion. They don't ask for your permission. They hijack your attention. And once they own that, they own you. But here's the shift. Once you understand the mechanics of manipulation, you don't just protect yourself from it. You can use it. That same language they use to trap you can be turned into the weapon that sets you free. Most people will never see it, because most people would rather stay comfortable than confront the truth. But not you. You're here because something inside you already knows. Power doesn't wait for permission. And if you want control, you'll need to stop playing the game like a pawn and start thinking like the one who built the ball. Because in the next section, you're going to learn how the puppet strings are really pulled. The silent prison, how you've been controlled without realizing it. You were never locked in a cage. You were handed a mirror and told to behave. They didn't need chains. They used approval, smiles, gold stars, silent nods of acceptance. As a child, you learned fast. Be polite. Don't question. Fit in. Raise your hand. Lower your voice. Follow the script or feel the sting of rejection. This wasn't education. It was programming. And the most dangerous part, it felt normal. You weren't taught how to think. You were trained what to think. Conditioned like an obedient algorithm. Seek praise. Avoid shame. Repeat. The moment you stepped out of line, even slightly, you felt it. The cold stay. The silent room. The subtle exile. Not physical punishment. Psychological correction. You weren't just told what was right. You were made to feel guilty for wanting anything else. And it didn't stop at school. Authority figures dressed as mentors. Friends who smiled as they manipulated. Family who clipped your wings in the name of love. Each one tightening the walls around your identity. Until you no longer knew where you ended and their expectations began. This is the silent prison. No bars, no guards, just invisible rules. Internalized chains. You perform, you please, and you call it personality. But here's the dark truth. You were trained to submit, not by force, but by emotional engineering. Because when someone controls how you feel, they don't need to control what you do. You'll do it to yourself. And now you have to ask yourself, how much of your life is actually yours? The mask you wear, the goals you chase, the opinions you defend. Were they ever truly born from you? Are you just living out someone else's script? In the next section, we tear that mask off and show you what was buried underneath it. The reframe, you're not weak, you're unarmed. You've been told you're too sensitive, too passive, too indecisive, that you lack confidence, that you need to toughen up. But what if that was never true? What if the truth is this? You were never weak, you were just unarmed, because no one gave you the real weapons. No one taught you how the game of control is actually played. They handed you rules. While they broke them behind your back, they told you to be kind. While they manipulated with charm, they told you to be honest. While they lied with precision, you weren't losing because you lacked value. You were losing because you were walking into psychological warfare with nothing but good intentions. And that's not weakness. That's sabotage. Now here's where the shift begins. The tools they used against you. They have names, patterns, strategies. They are not magic. They are not exclusive. They are learnable. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. Once you study them, you stop reacting and start directing. You stop being the puppet and start becoming the one who understands the strings. This is no longer about motivation. This is about mental weaponry, strategic awareness, emotional precision, the kind of control they never wanted you to have. Because once you have it, you stop being predictable, and a person who can't be predicted can't be controlled. So don't call yourself broken. Don't call yourself soft. You were simply never given the playbook. But that ends now, because in the next section, you're going to get your first weapon, and once it's in your hands, the world starts looking very different. The psychology of puppets. Why control is more about emotion than logic. People think control is about facts, data, logic, reason. It's not. If you want to control someone, you don't argue with their mind. You whisper to their emotions. Because the mind calculates, but emotions command. You don't convince someone with truth. You nudge them with fear. You lure them with ego. You bind them with shame. You hook them with desire. It's not about being right. It's about feeling right. That's why flattery works better than facts. That's why people fall for the same lies, even when they know better. It's not that they're stupid. It's that their emotional triggers were pulled in the right sequence. A compliment lowers defenses. A slight pause can create doubt. A perfectly timed silence can make someone spill their soul just to fill the discomfort. This is how puppets are moved. Not with ropes, but with invisible strings of emotional leverage. And if you think you're immune, you're not. Because the moment you feel something strongly, your logic takes a backseat. Think about the last time you made a bad decision. Did logic fail you? Or did your emotions override it? Control is subtle. It doesn't demand, it suggests. It doesn't push, it pulls. So if you want to stop being manipulated, you need to become fluent in emotional patterns. You need to see the levers behind people's reactions and your own. Because once you understand which emotion is being triggered, you stop dancing. And in the next section, you'll learn exactly how those emotional triggers are installed. Forbidden Tactic Cluster 1. Identity Hooks, Tactics 1 to 7. Welcome to the first layer of the code. These tactics aren't random tricks. They are weapons aimed straight at the core of human behavior. Identity. Because if you can touch someone's identity, you can bend their behavior without force, without argument, without resistance. Tactic 1. Mirroring. People trust what feels familiar. Match their tone, posture, rhythm. Not to mimic, but to reflect. You become a living echo, and echoes feel safe. Tactic 2. Labeling. Tell someone who they are, and watch them live it. You're a smart guy. You've always been a loyal friend. Once the label lands, their actions follow, to stay consistent. Tactic 3. Planted assumptions. Don't ask if they'll help. Ask how. Don't say are you confident. Say when you lead. Assumptions bypass defense. You're not suggesting, you're scripting. Tactic 4. Authority anchoring. Speak with structure, timing, certainty. People don't follow knowledge, they follow presence. Authority is a rhythm. Hit it, and they'll follow. Tactic 5. Social proof poisoning. Most people already agree. Everyone's been trying this. You shift perception by shaping the herd. And people hate feeling like the last to catch on. Tactic 6. Identity priming. Mention their past wins. Frame their values. You've always been the kind of guy who... It doesn't just flatter, it frames. Tactic 7. Role projection. Assign a role, and they'll step into it. You're the guy we count on. You're the calm one in chaos. People perform the roles they believe they've been cast in. You don't need all 7. Just use one, and watch how people lean in. Shift. Submit. This is how you stop reacting and start crafting. And in the next section, we go even deeper into the triggers that override logic completely. Forbidden Tactic Cluster 2. Emotional Hooks, Tactics 8 to 14. If identity is the stage, emotion is the spotlight. These tactics don't overpower. They redirect. They don't yell. They pull strings quietly, beneath the surface, where real control lives. Tactic 8. Push-pull. Give validation, then withdraw it. Create warmth, then distance. It sparks confusion, curiosity, craving. People chase what retreats. They lean toward what makes them feel off balance. Tactic 9. Strategic silence. Most people can't handle applause. Say something sharp, then go quiet. Let them fill the void. The silence becomes a mirror they can't escape. That's control without saying a word. Tactic 10. False vulnerability. Say something that feels deep, but isn't. I used to struggle with self-doubt. It lowers defenses. It makes you human, just enough to be trusted. But it's not about honesty. It's about access. Tactic 11. Guilt inversion. Make them feel like they've let you down. Not with blame, with disappointment. You seem like someone who got it. Guilt flips the frame. Now they chase your approval. Tactic 12. Reframed praise. Praise them for what you want more of. You handle that with real clarity. You're the type who always thinks steps ahead. They internalize it and repeat it. Not for them, for you. Tactic 13. Controlled emotion leak. Let a sliver of frustration or sadness show, just once. It shakes the frame. People become emotionally responsive when they think you're not trying to be. Tactic 14. Emotional anchoring. Pair yourself with a strong emotion. Laughter, focus, relief. People won't remember everything you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel and follow that feeling. These aren't tricks. They are weapons of emotional precision. Subtle, silent, lethal. You don't have to be loud to be powerful, just precise. In the next section, we'll turn that precision inward and aim it at yourself. Forbidden Tactic Cluster 3. Perception Control. Tactics 15 to 21. This is where things get darker, because this isn't just about people. It's about reality. Control perception, and you control truth. Not truth as fact, truth as experience. Because people don't act on what's real. They act on what they perceive to be real. Tactic 15. Ambiguity injection. Leave things unsaid on purpose. A vague statement opens more loops than a clear one. And the mind hates open loops. It fills the blanks with whatever it fears or hopes. You didn't manipulate. They completed the illusion for you. Tactic 16. Choice limitation. Offer two outcomes, both of which lead where you want. You can be silent and stuck, or start acting like the version of you that wins. It feels like choice, but the outcome's already boxed. Tactic 17. Predictive framing. Tell them what's about to happen. You'll probably start noticing how fake most people sound now. And suddenly, they do. You didn't observe reality, you installed it. Tactic 18. Future pacing. Place them in the next version of themselves. Picture it. You walk into a room, calm, unreadable, in control. It becomes familiar, expected. They begin moving toward it, unconsciously. Tactic 19. Controlled contrast. Make the alternative look absurd. This isn't for the passive, the polite, or the predictable. Now, to reject your offer is to identify with weakness. Tactic 20. Elevated language. Words change perception. Say elite, not good. Say calibrated, not lucky. Precision builds authority. The right language creates the frame of superiority. Tactic 21. Perceptual looping. Reinforce what they believe, then subtly escalate it. You already see deeper than most. This next shift will sharpen that even more. Agreement leads to advancement. You're stacking belief like code. This is the high table of influence, where cult leaders, elite closes, and power players speak in riddles. That program minds. Reality is programmable if you learn the syntax. Next, we turn the lens inward, because the final battlefield is you. The cost of power, what most can't handle. Power isn't a prize, it's a burden, a weight that sinks deep, beneath the skin, into the soul. You think mastering manipulation means control, but control comes with a price. Loneliness, paranoia, that constant whisper in the back of your mind. Am I becoming the thing I hated? When you hold the strings, you start seeing the cracks. Not just in others, but in yourself. You catch your own reflection flickering between truth and deceit. The mask of control begins to feel like a cage. Most people never cross this line. They flinch the moment their tactics work. Because success brings clarity, and clarity brings fear. Fear that the power you sought will consume you. Fear that the hunter becomes the prey in your own mind. Fear that the identity you built is a lie wrapped in manipulation. This is not a game. It's sacred. It demands respect. It forces a reckoning with who you really are. Power without awareness is chaos. But power with awareness, that is transformation. You must decide, will you flinch, or will you stand in the shadow you create? Because once you cross this threshold, you're no longer the same. In the next section, we explore how to walk that line and stay whole while wielding influence. Shadow integration, manipulation without losing yourself. Power doesn't come from denial. It comes from integration, from embracing the parts of yourself you've been taught to hide. The shadow isn't evil. It's the unconscious side, the raw instincts, the unspoken desires. Carl Jung called it the shadow because it lives in the dark, but it's part of you. Ignoring it doesn't make it disappear. It festers. It controls you from the inside. Mastering manipulation isn't about becoming a monster. It's about knowing the monster you carry and learning to wield it without losing your soul. This is the real power, to balance the light and the dark, to hold influence without surrendering your conscience. You don't have to dim your light. You don't have to pretend to be pure. You need to own your darkness, because the moment you accept it, you become unshakable. The strategic self isn't a mask. It's an expansion, a fuller version of who you really are. For the introverts, the overthinkers, the ones afraid of what they might become, this isn't a fall into corruption. It's a rise into wholeness. The next step isn't just about control. It's about self-mastery. And in the next section, we'll explore how to build an unbreakable mindset, a fortress around your new power. The shift from overlooked to unstoppable. You were invisible, blurred in the background noise, the one they overlooked, the one they whispered about but never noticed. But now, you see the matrix. You feel the pulse beneath the surface, the silent patterns of control, the unspoken rules. You're no longer blind to the strings that pull at everyone else. This isn't luck, it's clarity. Imagine walking into a room and changing the temperature without uttering a single word. A glance, a pause, a shift in energy. The room bends, not because you demanded it, but because you commanded. You are no longer silent. You are strategic. Every movement calculated. Every word a weapon or shield, chosen with precision. Confusion fades. Passivity dies. Emotional manipulation becomes a map you navigate with cold purpose. You don't react. You initiate. You don't stumble through influence. You own it. This transformation is not a gift. It's a conquest, a rebirth from the shadows of doubt and weakness. You are the master of the game they never told you existed, the unseen architect of your reality. And this is only the beginning, because in the final step, you'll learn how to lock in this power, to make it unbreakable, permanent. Prepare to become unstoppable.